Namaste, Mama.
Namaste.
Today it is our good fortune that we have with us Professor Kalyan Raman, who is an eminent person. He is an Indologist, he is a historian, he has done so much of research on our Indian culture, our civilization, and also he is the person who we can relate to Ram Setu agitation which took over some 10 years back in India. And Professor Kalyan Ramanji, better it is that we will learn more things about him from him only. And I want to ask you about Ram Setu also, and also about how you came into this. You were working in Asian Development Bank. You were working in so many other places. You have traveled to so many countries. But how come that you got involved into this Ram Setu agitation? And we have learned through many newspapers, through many of the TV channels that time, that it was a one-man show entirely, and you brought the agitation to you got to the end of the agitation and you got success for all the Hindus all over the world. So we also pay our gratitude to you, and also we would like to ask you that how did all this happen?
I was working in the railways, then went on a deputation to Asian Development Bank, worked there for 18 years. Then I decided that I'll get back to country. So I took voluntary retirement 5 years ahead of time and came back. My main work was on river Sarasvati. So there was a work that was initiated by Morapant Pingle of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, who was the Vedic Pramukh, together with Vishnu Vakankar of Ujjain, a great archaeologist, Padma Shri awardee. So they started looking for Sarasvati. So I was also looking for Sarasvati when I was working in Manila. So I made a presentation in the World Sanskrit Conference on the river Sarasvati, and said I have found the river Sarasvati, and drew a map based on the archaeological sites, about 2,000 archaeological sites. So the river emerges from that. So that was my job, and then a Vedic Saraswati Nadi Shodha Pratishthan was set up in Jaipur, and then Saraswati Research Center in Chennai. So I was made in charge of the project. So we were working on this, visiting all the areas in Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat and all that. And then involving with the scientists of the ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, satellite images and all that. So that was the major job. So all that work was going on, and we achieved remarkable success in that. We'll talk about it later. Then the issue of Rama Setu came up, primarily because there was a lot of false information that was being spread about the advantage that will be created by a channel linking up the west coast of India with the east coast by breaking through Rama Setu. So the question that arose in my mind was, what was the necessity? It's called the Setu Samudram project. They called it a channel, so Rama Setu Samudram channel project. And it's a very shallow area. I visited that place. I said, there is something wrong with this. Why there is so much of importance being given to this area, this project, which is not going to be a significant benefit at all, because even if the channel comes through, they will be able to take only small little boats of 3,000 tons. Not going to be huge ships or oil tankers cannot go in that channel, because it's going to be very shallow with only about 10 feet deep. So you can't have major ships going through. So what is the advantage? So I thought there was a lot of misinformation being given about a project which had to be corrected. So at that time, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, led by Shingal, had taken up saying that why is so people are getting upset about it, because it's a sacred place, and people visit Rameshwaram after visiting Ayodhya, then Badrinath. So Kashi, Badrinath, Rameshwaram is part of the Dharma Yatra circuit for the people. So why they disturb that sacred place with this activity? And people had a very firm faith, belief, Shraddha, that it was constructed by Rama, Nila and Nila. So the Ramayana, there are many versions of Ramayana. So why should all this be ignored? So there should be some way to protect this. So there was a number of petitions were filed in the Madras High Court. So I also joined as a petitioner together with D. Kupuramu, an advocate from Ramanathapuram, and we filed a petition saying that we are contesting this need for this Samudra channel. There should be alternate ways of reaching the same problem. After all, just go around Sri Lanka. And they can also have transshipment points in Tuticorin and then take it to the Chennai airport. We can have a corridor, ferry corridor, running from Vizhinjam in Trivandrum to Calcutta or to Mumbai. So there's no need for a channel. So that was the argument that we wanted to give. And then that led me to searching for a lot of literary evidences and historical evidences. And we found phenomenal evidences. We went to the Sarasvati Mahal Library in Tanjore, saw old maps there, 19th century maps prepared by an Australian botanist who had come there, and then that map very clearly showed Rama Setu. So that way it was recognized well hundreds of years before that it was considered a Rama Setu and Setu Bandha. And the earliest kavya in Prakritam was called Setu Bandha, Setu Bandha kavya. And the Setu Bandha is such an important event in the life of our, in the historical narrative of our country, primarily because that Setu Bandha is a symbol, signifies the fight for dharma. So here was Rama, who was deprived of his wife, who had been taken away and then kept as a prisoner in Ashokavana, and he had to fight to bring her back. And he had to bring this. Setu Bandha was an instrument that was created for him to reach Sri Lanka. So there is a beautiful image painting by Raja Ravi Verma, where he narrates the story of Rama arguing with the Samudra Raja. He's very annoyed. He says Rama is very anxious to go to Sri Lanka because he had received information that Sita was there in Ashokavana. With the Vanar Sena of Sugriva and all, they found out. They searched all over and they found that she was there. So when he wanted to reach there, Rama was agitated, saying, I have to get back. So how do I cross? So there is a sea here. So Samudra Raja intervenes and says, Samudra Raja, and he takes the bow and arrow and then starts directing at the Samudra Raja. He's about to release it. Then Samudra Raja comes and says, no, please, don't act in anger. I'll tell you, you have got very remarkably competent engineers, architects, Nala and Neela. They will guide you. They will tell you that sea, the depth of the sea is called bathymetry. They will give you the details of the bathymetry. You will be able to find a solution. So ask them. Then Rama could not, having joined the arrow, he had to release it. So he redirects it and releases it. And then goes and hits a mountain and it erupts. It's a volcano erupts. And today we find there are volcanic rocks in Rama Setu. So the descriptions that are given in the Valmiki Ramayana are all very factual. So they are historically valid. The description of the Rama's journey from Ayodhya down in search of to Sri Lanka, crossing the Setu Samudram through the Rama Setu bridge, and then the building of the Rama Setu itself by the Nala and Neela and the Vanar Sena. There are so detailed records are there, so it cannot be denied. And there are a number of historical records of the people from the West, Marco Polo and other people who tried to come to India. And then they also record that how they could not cross because of the channel. The Setu was there. It prevented the going through the Gulf of Mannar. So they had to go around Sri Lanka. So that's how I made a presentation in the meeting that was held by the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. And then said, we can make a big case for this, and then we can ask the government to reconsider and look for alternatives instead of destroying a great monument. And I made this submission that it must be declared as a national monument. We have got adequate reasons for this under the Archaeology Monuments Act of the India. So that's how it began. And we filed the petition in the Madras High Court. And the High Court accepted the petition. And then the very first question that the judge asked, Judge J.P. Shah, the Chief Justice, what is the meaning of Setu? Setu is a bund. So you have a bund for a tank, you also have a bund that linking up the 2 points in the ocean. So this Setu and Setu Bandha are integral components of determining that there was a bridge. And it was a man-made bridge. It was done with extraordinary care. And there are also the records available in the Mahavamsha and the old chronicles of Pali of how the people from Orissa came down and then went to Sri Lanka to spread the message of the Buddha. And then they crossed this bridge by foot. So there was evidences available of people crossing the bridge by foot and by following with the elephants and the army members. More than that, Kuparam was able to find out there are village revenue records available of village settlements. Between Dhanushkodi and Talaimanar, first is Rameshwaram, then Dhanushkodi is the one edge. And in fact, the railway line used to go right up to Dhanushkodi. Then due to a typhoon, it got destroyed. So the railway line got cut off. Otherwise, there were people going up to Dhanushkodi and then going by boat and then transferring to Talaimanar. So it was a regular traffic of people visiting the Shiva temple in Talaimanar after visiting the Shiva temple in Rameshwaram. So, and there are also evidences of people who are fishermen. Quite a few of them are Muslim fishermen. They search for Shanka. Shanka is available here, just as it is available in Ran of Kutch, in the Gulf of Kambat, near Surat, Gujarat. So this Shanka is such a big industry in a place called Kedakarai, 10 kilometers from Setu. The average annual turnover is 10 crores. And the Shanka is taken to Bengal and cut into bangles. And without a bangle, Shanka bangle, no marriage is complete in Bengal or Orissa. So important. So, and these Shanka industries were substantially managed by these fishermen folk. And when they go and dip and do search for Shanka, and if by mistake they pick up any piece of stone from the bridge, from the Ramasetu, they go to do Prayashchitam in Ramapada temple in Rameshwaram. So that is the amount of faith. And they also sing songs during their marriages about their ancestors coming from Ayodhya and visiting. So they're all, so the total support that we got for the petition with the court was so intense. So it became a big issue. That is, it became an issue between so-called development project and the question of protecting the faith.
So what was that Setu Samudram project, what the government had proposed?
You see, what the government had proposed was to cut through the Ramasetu to link up Tuticorin with the Chennai port and Nagapattinam and other ports or East Coast ports. So, and it was a channel supposed to have about 40 feet wide channel, but only 12 feet deep. So, with that 12 feet deep channel, they wanted to get only 30,000 tons worth of capacity boats, which can be vessels. Even today, there is what's called a Park Strait. There is a Pamban bridge. Through that, there is a passageway. But small little boats can still go there. Yes. So we said, why are we not using that Pamban channel? Why do you want another new channel to come up? You can achieve the same purpose. Only thing is, there are 30,000 tons, they can be 10,000 tons. So you can put the shipments from containers in Tuticorin, transship them, and take those small little boats, and then take it to Madras. Or build freight corridors. So alternate. See, it's a transportation problem of linking up Tuticorin with Chennai from west to east. So if the same can be achieved by alternative means, either road or by bridges and so why not do that? In fact, you can even have a levitating bridge paralleling the Ramasetu for linking up Colombo and Chennai and right up to Delhi. Why not? So it's a question of getting together. And in fact, we got support also from Sri Lanka government. They said we will not allow this great monument to be destroyed. They have a lot of respect for Ramasetu. There is a temple for Sita run by the Buddhist monks in Sri Lanka. They celebrate their traditions so intensely that they were also concerned that they were not being consulted. So we mentioned all that in our petition, and then AP Shah took up the petition for discussion, and then sensing that they are going to lose the case, they transferred the case to Delhi. So it became a Supreme Court case. Then we again went to the Supreme Court. There also we had to fight. So the petition was taken up, and then the Chief Justice was handling Chief Justice Balakrishnan was the Chief Justice. Together with Ravindran, 3-judge bench. They were arguing the case. It went on and on. And then something very special happened, which I will tell you. Okay. That saved us.
You tell us what is that special thing which happened? And that is the real Anubhuti for us.
Anubhuti, I'll tell you. Chief Justice was listening to us. Ravindran also was listening to us. There was a number of questions. He gave them all the answers. I had prepared a book on Ramasetu that was there lying on the bench, the judges were looking at it. Then first argument took place and then said next day, it was scheduled for a next hearing. At the time of next hearing, we learned some very serious news from the Indian Navy and from the scientists of the National Institute of Oceanography, Goa, NIO Goa, and NIOT Chennai, National Institute of Ocean Technology. Some very senior scientists and senior Navy people informed us that likely action is going to be initiated for blasting the bridge, the Rama Setu. We got agitated. So we made out a petition to the court saying that if any destruction takes place in the bridge when the case is pending, our case will become infructuous. So we wanted to be heard. So we went to the Supreme Court, to the registrar was Mr. Shah. He refused to accept our petition for him early hearing, saying that he has instructions from the Chief Justice not to take it up without his approval. And the Chief Justice had gone away to Africa. He had gone on some special tour. We did not know what to do because the action was imminent to destroy the Rama Setu. So then Dr. Subramanian Swamy was also a part of the petition. He had also filed a separate petition. He and Roxana Swamy, Kupuraman, walked into the room of the acting Chief Justice, Justice Agarwal. He said, Chief Justice is not there, so you are in charge. We went to the registrar. Shah, he is not accepting our petition. So we want you to give us guidance. Justice Agarwal became very agitated. He said, does the court come to a stop because the Chief Justice is on tour? I am the acting Chief Justice. I will decide about it. So he said, please call registrar. The registrar came. He said, why you are not accepting the petition? He said, because of the instructions from the previous Chief Justice. He said, no, we accept the petition. It's going to be heard today in my court. So the case was taken up at 2 o'clock. So ours was the number 2 case. First case was by Krishnamani, who was the Bar Council President. He said, I am withdrawing my request for the petition, so you give the precedence to this case. So our case was taken up. Justice Agarwal asked the government advocate, Subramanian, what do you say? The petitioners say that their action is going to be taken to destroy the bridge and their petition will become infructuous. What do you have to say on this? Then the Advocate General said, sorry, my lord, I don't have any instructions from the government. So that means what they are saying is true. I am giving a stay order. So the stay order was given. So it was astonishing that for a major developmental project, on the basis of just only one piece of paper, no other file was brought in. On the petition that we gave about the hearing, the case becoming infructuous because of this imminent action to destroy the bridge, the stay order was given. And the stay order continues even today.
So do you feel that it was a divine intervention, Mama?
Yes, I have no doubt about that. In fact, Ramayana makes a very specific mention, the responsibility of Anjaneya to protect the Rama Setu. So he has been protecting us. I do not know what happened, the extraordinary circumstances. Justice Shah, the case being transferred to Supreme Court, Chief Justice is going on a tour to Africa, and then acting Chief Justice acting in our favor, telling the registrar, and our getting information about this. How would all this happen? It's only Daivam. See, there is a beautiful word in Mahabharata called Daivam. Just destiny. The destiny seems to act on this issue. You have a responsibility, you do your job, but then something else happens, that's Daivam. So you are also part of it. Entire action takes place. In a Tandava Nrityam, you are only actors.
So when this Setu Samudram project was going on, they say that there were the dredging cranes were there, they were brought.
Oh my God, the number of incidents that took place, some of the cranes were broken, so they could not dredge it through. The substantial activity was taking place. Dredging machines were brought in by the Belgium company who was given the contract. It's called the Dredging International. And they were doing the job. And an enormous amount of sand was taken out to clear and create the channel. By the dredgers broke down, we do not know. So there are a lot of incidents that were taking place which seemed to be beyond human control. And much more important was the amount of tension that was created in the country. So we organized a meeting on Rama Setu protection with all the Dharma Sabha members on 31st December 2006 in Delhi, Rohini Park, because the boat club could not hold the number of people we were expecting. Normally the boat club is the place where big meetings are held, 10 lakh people and all that. But for this Rohini Park meeting, an entire forest was cleared for accommodating the meeting. With the 3 huge pandals, the stages were made for the Dharma Sabha saints and members. You would not believe the number of people who came from all over the country, spending their own money. And they were all fed by the people of Delhi with chapati and sabji and all that. 15 lakh people came. The largest gathering of a public meeting anywhere in the world of that kind. So there was so much of anxiety among the people. So that gave us an enormous amount of strength. And that really shattered the arrogance of the powers that we wanted to push through these projects.
Long through the history, Mama, starting from 92, when the Ayodhya Ram Temple issue happened, Babri Masjid issue happened, we are seeing that that time also there was the UPA, Congress government was there. And when in 2006, 2007 also there was a Congress-led government in the center. And they were always, we have seen that this is a party, or these are the people who have always been behind our history, or they have been trying to break our history. And there are people here also, in Tamil Nadu also there are politicians. But one thing which we came across in the newspapers was about that Setu Samudram project was given clearance first time by the Atal Bihari Vajpayee-led government. Was it true, Mama?
Absolutely true. In fact, people are misinformed. See, there was a lot of misinformation that was being given that the Rama Setu was not a man-made structure, it's not a monument, and it was only a natural shoal that was created. So this information, and then making a big song and dance about the benefits of this Setu Samudram project were all misinformation. So the proper information was not given by the state government to the center. So when I made a presentation to the then Defense Minister, George Fernandez, he was taken aback. He says, I did not know about the importance of this information that you are bringing out. We thought Setu Samudram project was important for national defense. There is nothing defense requirement. Indian Navy did not demand it. It is only just a project that just to link up to Kolkata and Chennai. There could have been alternatives considered for a transport project. Yes. So they realized they committed a mistake. So I don't want to get into the politics of the issue at all. But the fact is that a lot of misinformation takes place in developing new projects without taking into account all the factors, particularly those involving the faith of the people and taking into consideration all the environmental factors. The environmental impact will be so serious. For example, there are some beautiful green turtles that travel between Dhanushkodi and Talaimanar. They are very rare species. They all get destroyed. If there is no passage and the ships start going, they will be obstructed. And there are very beautiful shanka, shells, algae which is medicinal properties. They are all available there. All those factors should be taken into account, the wealth of the country. And more important, this Rama Setu has a very important role to play in the accumulation of the world's largest thorium deposits. Largest in the world have accumulated.
What does the thorium deposit mean?
The thorium, how it got accumulated. This is a nuclear resource.
Okay.
Like plutonium and the uranium. Yes. Thorium is also a nuclear activity. So there is a reactor functioning in Kalpakam in Chennai where thorium blanket is used over top of plutonium and it's running beautifully. So thorium is a nuclear resource and it can solve our nuclear requirements for years to come.
So they say NASA had told once that the thorium deposit which is found in Ram Setu, it is dating back millions of years.
Of course, it's a large amount of accumulation. There is very unusual circulation of the sea, what are called the waves. They have clockwise waves and anti-clockwise waves. So the churning of the sea is taking place in the Bay of Bengal. Okay. So somehow with the churning of the process and from the mountains that bring down the minerals, thorium accumulation has taken place. And that is very beautifully recorded by Gopalakrishnan in the minerals map. So in Goa there is some thorium, And in Orissa there is some thorium, but the maximum amount of thorium is in near Ram Setu. With this information also, this was not made known. So and there is also some information which has got to be investigated further of the thorium being looted. So that's a separate issue, okay? So because it's a very important resource, it's a very valuable resource. So now that the India is a member of the nuclear club, and we are also going to become a member of the nuclear resource club, it's important for us to protect this rich resource. Apart from all the natural resources of Shanka. As I told you, the Shanka industry in Kirakarai near Ram Setu is a 10 crore per annum industry, benefiting the fishermen there. And fishermen should be able to go very freely across. There should be no problem at all. It's only a question of agreement between the government of India and Sri Lanka to get the fishermen to have an easy movement for getting the job done.
See, like every Hindu kid who is in India, so he has grown up with hearing the Ramayana stories. So when we were kids, we used to learn about Rama Setu. Then in 90s or I think in 80s, there was a serial very famous in India, Ramayana serial by Ramanand Sagar. So in that also we saw that the Rama Setu was shown, and how the Vanaras, they placed the stones writing the name of Sri Rama. But one thing, how big is this Ram Setu? Like what is its width, what is its length?
So width is which ranges from about 20 meters to 200 meters width.
20 meters to 200?
200 meters. And the length of the bridge is about 35 kilometers. 35 kilometers. And there is remarkable evidence, they are called floating stones, which is described in the Ramayana. Yes. And there are floating stones, which are now kept in tubs, and then we demonstrate it in the temples. They float. Because, they are made up of fossils, of the old fossils. They are accumulated and become stones, very hard stones. So, we have clear evidences of stones having been placed on top of layers of sand. So, when the NIOT and National Institute of Organization of National Institute of Oceanography in Goa, they did bathymetry tests of vertical drilling was done, and they have a clear map showing sand layers, stone layers, sand layers. So there was a clear placement of stones that had to be brought, because the stones do not come automatically, they have to be brought from outside. So some human agency had brought in these stones from outside, and not only the stones, there are also the wooden blocks, trees, trunks, everything was there. So they created the bridge.
So how was the Ram Setu some few hundred years ago, and now what is the situation of Ram Setu?
See, if you are, the depth of the Ram Setu is just only about 10 meters. See, very shallow sea. In fact, there are places where you can walk through the Brahm bridge for up to 10 kilometers and stand in the middle of the ocean with only about thigh deep of water. You can stand. For example, Dr. Dave Dave has made a beautiful report on his